All right, let's take a look at some worked problems for Chapter 1 review. I'm covering sections 1.1 and 1.2 in this one. I will be putting up another one for 1.3 and 1.4. This is our first of the worked problems, 1.1 and 1.2. So we're asked, are the given points solutions to the given equation? So here I have my equation, right? I am I'm supposed to take my 7x minus 2, and I want to find out what that f of x, which is really the same thing as a y, right? I want to be sure that those two things are equal. If they are, then it is a solution. If it is not equal, then they are not solutions. So let's go ahead. I'm going to do this -1, -9 first. Right, so -9 is going to equal 7 times -1 minus 2. So -9 equals -7 minus 2. So -9 equals -9. So this is a solution. That is a solution. Now we're going to do again with the same process. We're going to go ahead and put the 2 in place of the y and the 0 in place of the x. So I have 2 equals 7 times 0 minus 2. 2 equals, well, that's a 0, -2. And be careful here, because this is where people get tripped up. When you take out that first term, you still have to keep that sign with the following term. So in this case, we have a 2 equals -2. That is false, except if we were talking about absolute value. So we are not, this is not a solution. Not a solution. All right, let's move along here. Same process. I'm going to go ahead and put in my values. And keep in mind that my values may or may not work. And it's not surprising that you're going to have cases, in real life especially, you're not going to have a lot of things solved or a lot of things being equal when you're dealing with a formula. So I'm going to have a 4 equals 5 times 2 plus 2 times 2 squared. Now I want to be real clear, we're only squaring this 2. All right. So I've got 4 equals 5 times 2 plus 2 times 4, right? Because this is, when I square this, I get a 4. So now I go ahead and do my multiplication and division. So 10 plus 8. So we're saying 4 equals 18. That is not true. Okay, this is not a solution. And we're going to go ahead and do the 4 -5 now. So I have a -5. It's going to equal 5 times 4 plus 2 times 4 squared. So I'm going to go ahead and bring everything down while I'm doing my square there. All right, so 5 times 4 plus 2 times 16. Here I have -5 equals 20 plus 32. And I want to point out here that at this point, when I see that everything on this side is positive, there's nothing here that will make this thing turn negative, and I see that this is a negative, right? I know immediately that those things cannot be true. So in this case, I could have stopped at this point and said, oh, they're not true. Well, carrying it all the way out to the bitter end, you've got -5 equals positive 52. That's clearly not true, so not a solution here either. All right, so let's move along down. So then we're asked to find the intercepts and then the graph. So my intercepts, remember, I have to put in my 0 for the opposite term. So if I want my y-intercept, that means my x equals 0. Right, my x equals 0. So that's going to be 2 times 0 plus y equals 4. Well, this thing goes to 0, so y equals 4. So y equals 4. So my ordered pair here is 0, 4. For my x-intercept, and remember, we'll talk about why that is again here in just a second. Here my y is going to equal 0. So I have 2x plus 0 equals 4. Divide both sides by 2, and I get x equals 2. So in this case, I have 2, 0. And we know that it's for the y-intercept, our x has to be 0, because for it to be our intercept, we have to be on the actual y-axis. And the only way to be on the y-axis is when x is 0. So I think sometimes it's a little confusing when we're talking about x-intercept and then we talk about something with the other, or y-intercept and talk about the x being 0. It feels a little confusing because we're talking about other processes, or the other variable, but it winds up being, in the process, it winds up being a very straightforward way when you see it graphically. All right. So here I'm going to go ahead. I have 0, 4, so I'm going to go up 1, 2, 3, 4. That's one of my intercepts. And then I have 2, 0, and that's my other. I'm going to go ahead and I'll move this. All right, now we go like that. All right, so there we go. I've got my graph. I've graphed the lines. I've put the intercepts where they belong, and then I go ahead and let me just label those quick. That's 4, and this is 2. All right, so I mean, I at least know where my intercepts are there. All right, moving right along. All right, 3x plus y equals 6. Again, I'm going to go with my intercepts. I'm looking for y-intercept. And I'm not going to write the fact that we're going with 0 for our x. I'm just going to say y equals 6. All right, so y equals 6. I'm going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's a 6 right there. All right, so now I've got 3x plus 0 equals 6. So 3x plus 0, that's going to be 3x. And then when I divide that by 3, I'm going to have a 2. So here I have this, right? So my ordered pair here is 0, 6, which we just found. And then here I have 2, 0. All right, go ahead and we'll plot this line. Go ahead and shuffle things around a little bit. All right, there we go. So those are graphed. We're going to work on the distance formula. And actually, I'm going to stop at this point and we'll pick up in the next video, but I want to make certain that we're clear on some stuff around the distance formula before we get too much into the actual calculations.